Good morning.
Morning,
Eddie.
Razor.
Can't ask you for your reaction to the Champions League draw because it hasn't been conducted yet, but I'm sure you're looking forward to it. It's a special thing, isn't it, to be in there again, and now down to the last 16.
Yeah, really special, really positive for us. I think just grateful we can't get Man City. So no, we're looking forward to what the draw brings, and we look forward to that game when it comes around.
Might get Man City later on in the competition again. Will you watch it or will you be training?
I think we'll be training. Yeah, so I'm sure we'll hear about it on the training ground. But yeah, preparing for tomorrow's game.
Just a couple on the match. The game the other night against Karabag was the first of a run of home fixtures now, and after so many games away, it was 4 in a row and 7 out of 8. How nice is it to have this sequence of matches in front of your own fans again, and no travelling either?
Yeah, it's amazing to be back at home. I think we've got to build our rhythm back at St James's Park. I think it's really important we won on Tuesday night. That was our focus. It wasn't necessarily the performance that we were wanting, but it was the result we definitely needed. And hopefully now we can build some rhythm and get a good feeling back at our home ground. It's so important for us.
And how important do you see this game in isolation being? Because Everton are above you as it stands, but that would change if you were to win.
Yes, it's a big game for us. I think Everton have done really well on their travels this year. They're a really tough team to beat. From their perspective, their away form has been really good, especially defensively. They've been very, very strong. And we know historically, from David's teams, they're very difficult to score against. So a difficult game for us. One we're going to have to do really well in a sense of our attacking play has to be really good. Our defensive mentality has to be improved from what it has been in recent games. I think that's going to be the big focus.
Thank you. Keith?
Hi Eddie. You said, I think previously, that Tino Livramento should be back round about early March. Do you expect him to be involved in these next couple of games at home?
We're still in February, aren't we?
Yeah. There's a couple of days left.
Yeah, I think Tino will be early March. We think he's still on track for that. He's done really well. He's been training now, not with us, but separately running for a period of time. I think he's done a really good body of work behind him. So I think when he comes back, he'll be in a good place. So I don't think it's too long to wait.
And Jacob Ramsey, of course, missed the game in midweek. Is there any chance of him being back involved for tomorrow?
We hope that he will train today. So yeah, fingers crossed for tomorrow as well.
Need to ask you as well, back page of one of the national papers today linking Anthony Gordon to Arsenal in the summer, of course on the back of the Tonali stuff we all spoke about in here a couple of weeks ago. How does that make you feel? Is it unsettling for the player at this stage of the season?
Only if he reads it, I suppose. I mean, I there's always, in this sort of age that we're at, there's always rumour and speculation, and yeah, I don't see probably 90% of it. I'm sure the players probably see more than I do. But I think it comes with the territory of being a top player and playing at this level, that there's going to be speculation. I think you've just got to put it out of your brain and you've got to focus on the football, because as we know with our schedule, there's so many games, there's no time for distractions. We have to be fully focused on each match.
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy?
Well, Eddie, we talked about kind of being back at home. How nice is it to actually have the players back on the training ground for a concerted period of time, because that away run of fixtures where you've barely got any training time available, it must be beneficial for them this week.
Yes, but yeah, we haven't done a huge amount of training, to be honest. I think the squad is small at the moment, so if you look at our bench on Tuesday, we try to sort of share minutes around. So with that in mind, the training the last couple of days has been really minimal. Hopefully we'll have a good day's training today, and then we're ready to play our next game. Training has almost been parked to a degree, although we're trying to take every opportunity we can to get the players in a really good place to play each game. But a lot of tactical preparation, a lot of game plan work, that's sort of where we're going from day to day.
Every day my social media feed seems to be full of Bruno out in Brazil recovering at the moment, which puts a real positive spin, I have to say, on every single day. Couple of questions on him. How is he doing in terms of his recovery? But also, I've asked you this before, he's got through so many games for Newcastle United. How good is it for him mentally to be coming back the best version of himself with the way he's recuperating?
Yeah, I've had some good contact with Bruno. He seems very positive about his injury, how he feels. He's done a lot of work, as you say. I think he's been really well looked after as well. So credit to everyone that's doing that work with him. We hope that he can come back and really give us a push towards the back end of the season. He's such an inspirational figure for us. That could be a huge boost for us. But we have to treat his injury carefully. I think it's a serious enough one for us to know that with any muscle problem, especially the hamstring, you've got to be really careful. So I think the better he looks after himself now, the more we're going to be rewarded later in the season.
Just finally, 4 wins in 5 now. How impressed have you been with the mentality of the squad to bounce back? I know all of the talk was about the chat amongst the leadership group to the rest of the squad and everything after that difficult period. But how good has the mentality been in the last couple of weeks to bounce back like this?
Really good. I've seen a good response from everybody. The squad's come together. I think we've become closer and tighter. There's a really good feeling between the players. Sometimes that comes with a small squad, and we certainly are sort of small in numbers at the moment, but the feeling is really high. And I think the most important thing for us now is to look forward. I think I've laughed with you guys here about January being a pivotal month, then February, and now we're probably looking at March being that month. So the games get bigger, but we're excited by what's ahead.
Thank you. Nisha?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
How's Louis Miley getting on? And is it still looking at March for him?
Yeah, it's we've just been advised with Louis to be really careful with this injury. It was a dead leg, so a knock, which usually with a knock of that type, it's maybe a couple of days and you're back, but there was a little bit of muscle disruption. He's had a couple of injections. I think he's got one more to come, so I think we're looking at, I think I've been saying a couple of weeks for a while, but I think we're looking at a couple of weeks with Louis, because I think if we don't get the management of this injury right, it could rule him out for the season. So I think we're being careful to hopefully get him back in a good place.
And how's he kind of dealt with that? Because earlier in the season, moving to left back, to right back, doing a really good job and getting his minutes. How has he reacted to this setback?
Typical Louis. Like not a massive amount of emotion, but that's a strength. He goes about his work in a really good way. I'm sure behind the scenes he's disappointed because he was in such a good place. He was playing really well at whatever position we asked him to play, and he was integral to what we were doing. And he also gave us a lot more choice and options to play different ways. So he's been a huge miss, and we're desperate to get him back. But we have to respect the injury timescale given.
And just finally, I know we talk about the succession of pivotal months, but with this run of home games, hopefully form coming, is Champions League still a possibility, qualification top 5, or is that maybe a bit too far now?
I think anything's possible. But we need to go on a great run of wins, and I think that's what we've been looking for all season in the Premier League, and we haven't been able to put that together. So I think with the other great distractions we've got going on in our season, nothing should get in the way of our Premier League focus. So I think starting tomorrow, we need to be really focused on giving our best efforts and trying to win as many games as possible.
Thank you. What's Damien, George and Charlie, please? Damien?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
Just going back to Anthony, how do you prevent this speculation developing into the kind of saga that you had with Alex Isak last season?
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a lot I can do about that. I think I've not seen the story, so it's news to me, but we're mid-season. We're in the middle of some of the biggest games of his career. And who knows what's going to happen internationally with him in the summer as well. So he's got no time to look left or right. It's got to be fully focused on straight ahead and the next game and trying to be as good as he can be. I've been really impressed with him the last few weeks. I think he's been in a good place, playing in a central position. I think he's done really well, and we want him to continue that good form.
Just to flag as well, Anthony was asked a question on that and did respond to it literally a week ago, so if you want to refer to those quotes. George?
What did he say?
Your quotes are out there, I think they were published. George?
I'd echo that, Lee. It's good.
Me?
Yes.
If you go to
Okay. Well, good morning. Kieran made his 150th appearance for the club the other night. He's also played 11 of the last 12 games in all competitions. I know he prides himself on his professionalism and fitness, but that's quite some workload for a 35-year-old. Can you pay tribute, please, to his ongoing influence on the pitch, in the dressing room, and what he still brings to the team?
Yeah, you can't underestimate what Kieran brings. I think we just spoke earlier about the reaction of the group in the last 5 games, and I think sort of epitomising that is Kieran's mentality, where I think after the Brentford game, if I believe, I could be mistaken on the game, but he's come out and sort of taken accountability on behalf of the players, which I think is rare in this day and age. And I think he's got those values inside of him that he has to give more, the team have to give more in any moment. But that filters through the group, and that leadership is almost a dying art in the modern game. So I pay tribute to his leadership all through his time here. He's been a really positive force for the team, for evolving, improving, and in good and bad moments being consistent. He's had a big workload in recent weeks. We've been well aware of that. We've tried to manage his minutes when we can in games, but also he's very much of the mindset that he wants the rhythm of the games. So he enjoys the games, he wants to play, and he feels he's better when he is regularly playing. So in some senses we've tried to give him that as well. But he's still an outstanding player.
Thank you. I'll go to Charlie, please.
Morning, Eddie. It's another one on Gordon, but it is match related. He's become a little bit of a pantomime villain for Everton fans in this fixture. Why do you think he's yet to perform against his former club, and how's he mentally going into this one?
Yeah, without going back over old ground, I think it's a new game. I think Anthony's been very good in this season, in particular, at sort of blanking out emotions from previous seasons and just focusing on the future. And I think that's what he'll have to do again. This is obviously a fixture that means a lot to him. You can't deny that. It's his former team who did a lot for him in his career, and I think he's very grateful for that. But of course there's a will for him, regardless of the opponent, to do well for Newcastle and for his teammates now. So I think he's in a really good place. The last few weeks I think he's been outstanding for us, and my wish for him is that he doesn't think too much and just carries on trying to play the same way.
Thank you. Go to Lee, Luke and Joe, please. Lee.
Yeah, Eddie, on players playing in different positions, obviously you've done it with Nick Waltamada, Joe Linton and Lewis Miley. Surely that is it's a positive thing that a player can play in more than one position. It's only going to help them further in their career.
From the player's perspective, you mean? Yeah, I think it's a great thing for everybody. For us, of course, if you've got versatile players, it gives you a lot more choice and options on how to play, especially in the midst of a situation where we've got a few injuries within the squad. It's almost imperative that we have that. From the player's perspective, I think it's great for their learning, and it's potentially great for their careers. You've seen with Joelinton in particular, changing position has transformed his career. And it's been a real positive for him. That won't always be the case with every player. And players will always have their preference on where they play. But I think we've got some great lads who are willing to play anywhere. And I think it's been beneficial for all sides at the moment. And we'll continue just to try and do what's best for the team and try and get results.
Thank you. Luke?
Does it ever feel that people are deliberately trying to destabilise your players? Because I think in the last few months we've had Livramento. I mean, my colleagues might be able to help me with the list, but Tonali, Chow, Waltamada going back to Germany, Anthony Gordon. There does seem to be a lot of speculation around your players. Why do you think that is?
Is that the end?
I bought myself.
I don't, you tell me. I mean, do you? Because
it
it's
seems
your.
To be a constant. It seems that Newcastle players seem to be fair game for transfer speculation, and is that a hangover from the Isak saga last summer? Do people think you're now a selling club? Why does it seem to be that your players are linked so often with moves?
Well, I was hoping that you'd answer it, because it's your sort of industry that's creating those stories, and for me, it's, as I said, I am slightly secluded from it to a degree. If you don't read it, you don't know who's being linked with who. Isn't it not just part of modern day football that everyone's linked with moves these days, and not just Newcastle players, but a lot of other clubs potentially have the same issues? I don't know. I think it's irrelevant, really. I think it's how the players take to that. If the players absorb it and it affects them, then of course that's a negative. But I think they will become robust enough to ignore it and concentrate on playing. And I think these things only come into focus really when windows are open, or that's for me when the players should be, if at all, thinking about their futures. Because in the meantime, everything they do in between affects their future, and all they can do is play at their best level, and that's what I'd encourage them to do.
Thank you. What's Joe, Craig and Kieran, please? Joe?
Hi, Eddie. A couple of years ago, Lewis Miley was thrust into the team because of injuries. You've now got a couple of players on the bench like Sean Neve and Leo Shahar. What do they have to do where, touchwood, there's not a similar injury crisis? What do they have to do to force themselves into the first team and be regular players for you?
Well, they've got a long journey ahead of them. I think I've said many times in this seat, the hardest transition is to go from academy player into the first team. It is such a difficult jump and such a big jump for all of the young lads to take. They have to work at their games. They have to improve in every moment. They can't waste a day. Sometimes that's difficult to do because there'll be very small groups training, as there has been this season. There haven't been 20 players training regularly for them to probably fully immerse themselves into that world of development through their training. It's been more individual based in smaller groups, and that places even more emphasis on their learning coming from themselves with our support. So they've got a big journey ahead of them. I think what we've tried to do is help them play as many games as they can. So when we have been able to release them to play 23s games, even at the cost of being on our bench, we think that's been really important because they need to play, and if they don't play, they won't get better. So we've tried to facilitate that so they're still getting the game time that they need.
Thank you. Craig?
Morning, Eddie.
Morning.
We've spoken a lot about Nick this week in terms of the isolation of now and where it's best for him and the team to play, but looking longer term, if in theory you did have that extended run of training time with him, what would your focus be? Would it be to make him a midfielder, a number 10, a number 9? Where do you see him longer term, sort of moving the conversation on from what we've spoken about this week?
I think the focus longer term would be on, of course, his development and transitioning into the Premier League, because I still feel there's a physical adaptation that's taking place. So we would, if we had free training weeks, would be really pushing him physically and in the intensity of his actions. The Premier League is the quickest league in the world statistically by some distance. So I think everything then in your training has to mirror that. So I still feel there's a lot of growth in him that we haven't been able to unlock. In terms of his sort of playing style, I don't think we'd be changing that at all. We love his style. I mean, if you look at what the move he did for Jacob Murphy's chance on Tuesday was outstanding, and I think only Nick could deliver that. He's put through Murph one-on-one, and that's sort of typifies his best work comes from in between the lines, in between the opponent's midfield and back four. So whether he's playing as a 9, that would be the same. Whether he's playing as a 10/8, that would be the same. So it would be a continuation of that work.
Kieran?
And just on the academy you mentioned earlier, how much progress and change have you seen since you came in, and how integral is it moving forward to, I suppose, be so joined up?
Seen a lot of change. I think, obviously I'm not party to that work every day. We're very much submersed in what we're doing here, but look at the facilities. For one, the facilities have dramatically improved. In my visits to the academy now, it's unrecognisable from the building that we first saw. So that in itself will of course help the players, and they're being now looked after, I think, much better than they were in terms of all of the off-field things and psychology, and there's an array of things now that have been improved. Of course, they've had different managers there with the 23s, which has been a sort of a little bit stop-start for them, but hopefully we can get some continuity for them in that sense. We need to expose them to the best coaching possible, because for me, I'm a big believer in the development through coaching. And then, of course, they need opportunity ultimately. But from my side, I can only give opportunities to players that I think are good enough. And it's raising the level of player is, of course, a long-term project there.
Tom?
Hi, Eddie. Given Kieran's continued importance, would your preference be to keep him beyond this season?
I think his long-term future will be something, again, that we discuss. I've said this before. But it won't be sort of one way. It'll be with Kieran. Kieran's vastly experienced. He knows what he wants as well. So we'll sit together and we'll try and come to the right conclusion for everybody.
Thank you. Gary, to finish, please.
Morning, Eddie. Just looking an hour or two in the future, obviously with the draw, what challenge would Chelsea bring? 3 games in a week if you draw them, or on the other hand, obviously Barcelona, potential trip to the Nou Camp. Is that stuff what dreams are made of, isn't it, really?
Yeah, we're well aware of the Chelsea sort of strange occurrence, really. I mean, it's you could play them 3 times in a week, but I don't know. We had a great game against them here, St James's Park. We were disappointed not to win that game. I thought we were outstanding. So I really respect them, and of course they've got a new manager since that game, so a bit of change that we'd have to sort of prepare for. The Barcelona game at home, very similar. I thought we deserved more from the game. I thought we played very well. That would be a great tie too. So I think we're in a great position where whoever we get is sort of mouth-watering for us and a great thing to look forward to.
Okay, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.